everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Deanna and you're watching Orchid. It does appear as though I've done a little bit of shopping, doesn't it? I got home from work today and found a few parcels over Easter weekend. I had a few sleepless nights and I did a little bit of nighttime shopping, as you do. I'm sure we've all been there. I bought some orchids. I bought some orchid supplies. This is most of the orchids, I'll admit, but there might be a few more on their way. Who knows? It's hard to say. So both of these are from Queensland. Very, very quick postage, as you can see, because Monday was a public holiday, so these were only sent yesterday. So this box is from Windemere Orchids and this is from M&S Orchids. I've done an unboxing from them in the past. I'm really excited to do both of these unboxings with you. I'm guessing that the audio on this is not going to be very good if I keep it in this view, so I'm going to change things around now and we will begin to unpack some of these plants. I'm pretty excited, so let's get started. So let's start with Windemere Orchids first. So these guys post flowering orchids online. They have a set price, it's not an auction or anything, but it's basically first in, best dressed. Flowers don't tend to transport that well. However, they've only been in transport for a day, so they might still not be too bad. I'm trying to be very careful here because I know there's going to be some buds and flowers. First up, because I can see there's a little bit of tissue wrapped around this one. So look at this little one. Little buds getting ready to open there. This is Oncidium Alasuca Clare. You may or may not remember from quite a while back, but I used to have this orchid. It sadly is not with me anymore, obviously, but I really loved this Oncidium and the patterning on it. It's a dancing lady type of Oncidium, if that kind of makes sense. It's got, you know, the nice big lip. I'll try and find a picture of my old plant. All those blooms seem to be intact. We should be able to see those blooms not too far from now. So here we've got some more blooms. A little bit of damage on this bloom, but a beautiful orange and yellow colouring. Absolutely stunning. Okay, so this one is Buragaria Brazilian Sun. That is pretty stunning, actually. You can see the orange and yellow contrasting there. Absolutely loving that. So she's still got a few more little buds to open up and a little bit loose in the pots, so I might be able to just top up the medium there and stabilize it until it finishes flowering. Otherwise I might just be forced to repot it sooner rather than later, depending on what is underneath that plastic and inside the medium. Now this next one here, you can see spike developing there. That looks really nice and strong. Michael McCarthy, I blame you for this one. You know what I'm talking about. This is Oncidium, aka Baby Raspberry Choc. Having discussions about fragrance of the Shari Baby and the differences between the Shari Baby, Heaven Sent, Redolence, and this one, aka Baby. Now I have all three, and now I can compare the blooms and the fragrance for myself. So yes, thanks for that, Michael. But it is a beautiful looking plant, and I've got 1, 2, 3 new growths on this one. Should be impressive. You can actually see on the spike that there's lots of secondary spikes. Actually, we'll zoom in a little bit closer once everything's unpacked. But that is looking to develop into quite a nice flower spike. Oh, and the last one here, another big healthy spike there. This one is Wilsonara Pacific Passage Handsome. It's got 2 new growths down there. Nice big strong healthy spike. These bulbs look nice and strong. Again, tiny bit loose in the pot, but I think a bit of the medium has come out in there. So yeah, I got 4 plants from Windemere Orchids. They were all $25 to $30, and yeah, all the spikes seem to be intact. So let me just clean up a little bit, and I'll quickly show you all 4 orchids a bit close up. So here are my 4 beautiful acquisitions from Windemere Orchids. 3 of them were $25 and 1 of them was $30. I'm not sure which is which, but they all have beautiful plump pseudobulbs and spikes intact. This one is probably the loosest in its pot, but I've checked the base, but the roots feel really firm and I can't see any signs of pests. This one and this one here are very pot bound with lots of roots circling. As you can see, this one is basically walking itself out of the pot, so they all will be repotted at some stage. So this one as well is in a net pot with some beautiful Spanish moss around it, but you can see it's growing out of its pot. I really want to see them flower. I guess the risk of repotting them straight away is that I might lose the flower spikes. It is actually advisable to repot new orchids, but I will keep these guys separate from the rest of my collection and see how they go. If I do notice signs of stress, then I might repot them earlier, but for now the plan is to keep them separate, keep them in the pots that they came in, and enjoy the blooms and then repot them afterwards. Well everyone, here are the orchids from Windemere, and I've decided to split this up into 2 different unboxing videos. So I've had to make a new outro for this video and a new intro for the M&S orchids, which I'll post a little bit later on. Basically I was just too lazy to do it last night, but there are 2 main things that I wanted to mention before I leave you, and the first is that I have put links into Windemere Orchids in the description below. They have a website, but I got these plants off their Facebook page, and they have a Facebook page, but they also have a separate one where they are selling their orchids. So I'll put a link to both down below. The second is that I want to tell you all the things that you didn't see on camera. So this is in reference to the online purchase delivery situation at the moment and hygiene in the context of COVID-19. I want to tell you what I did, but also keep in mind that this is in context of where you are in the world. And I guess at the end of the day, the paramount thing that you must remember is to be mindful of hygiene. So firstly, the truth is what we know about COVID-19 is constantly emerging and changing. Transmission is mostly by touching contaminated things and then touching your face. If there are fresh droplets, then the virus can aerosolize, which means it can become airborne. So recent studies, and I will link the ones that I might have read down below, say that the virus can stay airborne for up to 3 hours. On cardboard, it's like 24 hours, and plastic and some metals, it's up to 3 to 4 days. Aerosolization is really much less of a concern with your community delivery of online stuff that you might have purchased. So basically for us, when we're receiving our packages, hand hygiene and minimizing the surface contact of your new things before you can clean them is probably the extra step that you really need to take. One thing I will note is that I'm filming this in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia on the 15th of April. Currently, Australia has a very decent testing rate, and we know that community transmission where I am is really quite low. So if you are in an area where there is ongoing high rates of community transmission, then you might need to be more vigilant. Otherwise, look, there aren't really any rules, except obviously whatever laws your government is imposing. Also, look, it's uncharted territory. There are no real guidelines either. So take what I tell you as well-intentioned advice, but unless I give you a link or a study, they are only suggestions. So what did I do? Well, I just used my general household wipes to wipe down the fast track parcels. They're the ones from M&S Orchids because they were a little bit plasticky. So I wiped them down before I brought them up. Right or wrong, I admit I didn't do anything with the cardboard box. I basically lifted it up and brought it outside, put it straight onto the table, and I decided to unbox that one first, as you know. In my opinion, hand hygiene is the absolute most critical thing to be doing very frequently. I personally don't think gloves are helpful. In fact, I think gloves give you a false sense of security. Most people end up touching a lot more things than they ordinarily would touch, and because you're touching more surfaces, you are actually still spreading stuff with your gloves. And if you aren't used to safely removing gloves, as we might be trained to do as healthcare workers, you know, using universal precautions, you might actually end up causing even more cross-contamination. So just wash your hands or sanitize them regularly. Wipe down your surfaces regularly. I've actually gotten into the habit of wiping down my phone several times a day, and when I'm at work I actually keep it in a Ziploc bag because I always put it in really stupid spots. It's just really bad habits that I have. Even I'm pretty sure, like, if I look back at my intro, I had it sitting on the bloody box. Like, I just do silly things like that by habit. But yeah, basically also I'm filming right now, so I wash my hands before unboxing, after unboxing, but also before I needed to touch anything else I used hand sanitizer. So that's, you know, every time I needed to adjust my camera or take it off the tripod. After all the plants are unboxed, I did just place the box into the wheelie bin instead of just letting it sit about. Also, again, for whatever it was worth, I just used these wipes to roughly wipe down the plastic on those pots before I moved them and wipe down the table, and the scissors I was using to unbox. And it was basically last night the end of the day for me, so I just went and had a shower and burned my clothes. Just kidding, I really like that t-shirt, but I did dump my clothes straight into the laundry. I actually do that now. After coming home from work at the hospital, I do this mad dash of dumping my clothes in the washing machine and then racing upstairs to the shower and just hoping my neighbors don't see me. So yeah, they're the things that I'm doing at the moment, but this is basically just what I'm doing, and I hope you found that in some way useful. They are all just suggestions, but obviously, you know, I'm still purchasing orchids and other stuff online to basically stay sane. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more orchid videos. Please keep an eye out for the next unboxing video from M&S Orchids. Also, I am going to be doing an unboxing of a big batch of supplies that I received from Orchid Den, so that will be coming up as well. So lots of unboxing videos to watch if you are in isolation in the coming week. I hope you guys are keeping safe. I'll see you all next time. Bye.